Welcome to Madrid Reviews. This is your host, Christian Madrid, and on today's video, we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Season 2. Let's get to my thoughts now, yo. Alright, y'all, let's get into this. So, before I get into my thoughts about The Last of Us Season 2, I do want to say this is a spoiler video, so if you haven't watched the whole season or watched the season at all, I recommend coming back later until you finished The Last of Us Season 2, because I'm going to be spoiling some things because I feel like I can't talk about this season without spoiling it. So, let's get to the review now, yo. So, I have mixed feelings about this newest season of The Last of Us. There are elements that I really like and elements that I really don't like. I'll start out with the positive. From a technical standpoint, this show is still very strong, as the cinematography and production design still look very nice, and it looks exactly like how it does in the game. The visual effects look amazing in this film, as the CGI is nice and some good practical effects in there as well. The sound design is still very intense and haunting with a solid score and soundtrack. My favorite aspect of the season was definitely the acting, as Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey, and Caitlin Dever all give good and strong performances. The acting is top-notch. My favorite episode in the whole season was episode 2, as this was so well done and executed and has the most action, and it's the most intense episode of the season. And this episode had what most of the season was missing, which brings me to my negatives. All right, So, I don't think it was a very good decision to kill off the main character, Joel. As while it was very well done in that specific episode, in episode 2, and it gives that shock value, but his presence in the episodes that follow is definitely missing, as the show is not the same without him. The writing was the weakest aspect of this show, as after season 2, the rest of the season is poorly written and drags. I think Ellie's character is fine, but I don't think her character is good enough to carry the show, and this season definitely shows that, as her story arc is very dull and lifeless and has little to no payoff by the end of the season. Her storyline with Dina is very boring, as Dina is just not an interesting character, and her character serves little to no purpose in the season other than being a love interest to Ellie, and I don't think they have good chemistry together. I don't find their love interesting. I just don't. Episodes 3 and 5 were boring as hell, as these are some of the worst TV episodes I've ever seen, as they're boring as shit, and they serve nothing to the story at all. Yeah. Jeffrey Wright's character, Isaac, is wasted in this season, as we don't see him enough, and we don't see enough of him, and I wanted to see more of his character. I found it kind of interesting, but we don't. We just, he's like in 2 episodes, and he's not really given a lot to do. I was really interested and fascinated with Abby, one of the main antagonists of the season, the person who kills Joel. But we don't see enough of her as well. But we do at the end of the season, in the last episode, and also that episode where she kills Joel. But the end of the season seems to tease that we'll be seeing more of her in season 3 and her perspective. So I am excited for that, because I do find her interesting. So hopefully we get more of that in season 3. The last episode was boring until like the last 20 minutes, as we finally come to what we've been waiting for the whole season, the Abby and Ellie standoff, where Ellie is trying to get revenge on Abby because Abby killed Joel. It was a good scene, but I didn't like how it ends, because it leaves us on a fucking mid-ass cliffhanger. We don't know, is Ellie dead? Is she not? Did Abby end up shooting Dina or someone else? Now we gotta wait 2 to 3 years to find out what happens, because it takes so fucking long to make these shows. Overall, The Last of Us Season 2 is mid, and definitely a downgrade from Season 1, which I gave that an A. But I am still looking forward to Season 3, because we're going to get more of Abby's story, and I think they have an opportunity to make Abby more interesting than Ellie. So there's potential there, but I am disappointed with Season 2. I'm disappointed. But check it out and see for yourself. I'm giving season 2 of The Last of Us a C-. I mean, it's just so-so. It's just HBO has been disappointing me recently with the newest season of The Last of Us, the newest season of House of Dragon, the final season of Righteous Gemstones. All disappointing, but at least The Pit satisfied me. The Pit was a great fucking show. I recommend that. Alright, y'all, that's the end of the video. We did alright watching The Last of Us Season 2. Chipotle Carl's Jr. type shit. But don't forget to hit that like button. Comment on whether you have seen The Last of Us or excited to see it. If you've seen it, let me know your thoughts. What was your favorite season? Was it episode or 2? I think season 1 was much superior. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and alerts to know when I drop a new review. Appreciate you all for watching. See you on the next one. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night. Whatever time you're watching this. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch me talk about movies and shows. Thank you. Bye-bye.